Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
The song that you are currently listening to is called Funky Candy Dish. It's written and performed by 100-Pound Housecat and features TKOA and Zidium. It's the penultimate track on their debut release, Crossed Your Heart, which you can find wherever you get your music. 100-Pound Housecat will be performing at Howlin' Wind Brewing and Blending very soon. More details coming up later in the podcast. To learn more about 100-Pound Housecat, be sure to head to their website, 100-Pound Housecat. That's 100lbhousecat.com.
Keep that funky candy dish. Put some peppermints in at Christmas time. Keep that funky candy dish. Candy covered chocolate from the Easter bunny. Keep that funky candy dish. Only thing I would ask you to keep in mind, I wanna miss that dog. You know I love that cat. If you could pawn all my clothes, shit, I could get down with that. And get rid of every little thing that would make you think of me. Yeah, yeah. For the love of funk, I'm begging, baby, please.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to Music of the Mountains, Where to Be and What to See, brought to you by the Mountaineer Podcast. This is the first of 2 Music of the Mountains episodes I'm putting out there, because this one's a little bit different. I'm calling this episode the Lost episode of Music of the Mountains. I'm very surprised that somehow I never got this interview onto the Mountaineer Podcast until now. But now I have an excuse to put this interview out there and re-promote a duo of musicians that I interviewed 2 years ago. Before we get into that interview, though, our preliminary promotional announcements. If you haven't subscribed to The Mountaineer yet and you want to support local news from peak to peak, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and click on the subscribe button in the top right corner of our homepage. From there, you'll get full access to our digital archives and scanned copies of our physical newspaper. And you could choose to send a physical subscription to your mailbox or to the mailbox of someone that you love. If you're interested in being involved in the newspaper and or the podcast in any way, shape, or form, be sure to email our editor-in-chief, Barbara Hart, at info@themountaineer.com, our advertising department at frontdesk@themountaineer.com, and or myself at media@themountaineer.com, and we'll get something sorted for you. If you're interested in learning more about the advertising bundles that are available, you can also head to the mtnear.com/advertise. And finally, our top story today, brought to you by Brittany Wagner.
Our top story today comes from Wes Eisenhart, Cold Springs Burn Area Tour. 9 years ago, on July 9th, 2016, 2 campers from Alabama failed to properly extinguish their illegal campfire during a countywide fire restriction. The unattended campfire reignited later and started the Cold Springs wildfire. The Forest Service has performed multiple reforestation efforts since the fire, replanting with ponderosa pine, limber pine, and Douglas firs. On August 10th, 2025, about 20 people toured the burn site to see the results of the fire and the reforestation efforts. The tour started off of Ridge Road and took about 2.5 hours. It used social trails to traverse public and private land. At each spot on the tour, one of the speakers would discuss the land and the consequences of the fire. You can read the full story in this week's Mountaineer or at themountaineer.com.
Thank you, Brittany, for bringing us our top story. Now, let's get these 2 on the podcast. Our guests this time around, do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Sure. I'm Melly Francis. Melly Francis. I play bass and washboard and sing and do percussion.
I'm Keenan. I'm the other half of 100 Pound Housecat, and I play guitar.
Slide guitar.
I can play all kinds, you know.
That's great. Yeah, you also play banjo.
Now, I originally conducted this interview on July 2nd, 2023, and you had a few shows coming up around that time, didn't you? And the venue that I focused on for this particular interview was the Gold Hill General Store.
Yeah, not super soon, but July 29th. The end of July will be our next show there.
And then I believe we have another show in your geographical general area. Melly, do you remember it's not until September, but Jamestown Mercantile is September 7th. It's a Thursday.
We've got UC Brews on the 3rd in Netherlands. And then we also have, the Jamestown Merc on September 7th.
They've been performing fairly frequently around the Peak to Peak area for the past couple of years. And this time around, I'm promoting a show that is in none of the venues that they just listed off. I'll mention where the show is that I'm promoting closer to the end of the episode. In the meantime, I want to get to your backstory. How did you guys get started as a duo in the first place? Where did 100 Pound Housecat come from?
We first met, I want to say it was like maybe the January before the pandemic started, and our friend Bevin Foley, who was in Trout Steak Revival, had some people over to her house to play some music, and I'd never met Melly before, but we had both left bands or had the bands we were in break up recently, and we both showed up at this thing at Bevin and hit it off pretty quick.
Yeah, we had it was like a song sharing thing, a song circle thing. And so all the musicians that were there showed up and then shared one of their songs. And the songs that Keenan and I shared were like both creepy blues songs that sounded like they were from the 20s. And I was pretty shocked because I just never met another person, let alone another female, who shared the same writing style and taste in old blues music. And so it was pretty awesome. It felt really serendipitous to me because I was like, I just didn't think another person existed like that, and let alone we have these two skill sets that like complement each other really well, because I'm not a qualified instrumentalist. I'm self-taught, and I'm really known for my singing, and Keenan is an amazing instrumentalist. And so it's like the combination of those two things, we were able to like fit into each other's music really easily.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I am just not a very strong singer, but I really love writing songs. So it was such a treat to find somebody with a really distinctive, amazing voice Melly writes a lot of the songs for the band too, but is willing to sing some of the songs I had written is always really nice when I can find that.
So you guys have a very particular niche in the kinds of music that you love to listen to and the kind of music that you love to play. Have specific influences stuck around with you both over the years? Have you had similar inspiration?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think Melly definitely has maybe like wider ranging tastes in music than I do. I just really like pre-World War II blues music an awful lot. So I really like Tampa Red and Memphis Minnie and Johnny Shines and Robert Johnson and stuff like that. And so does Melly also. And I really can't impress upon you enough how few and far between those people are. I mean, I feel like in my life, and it's kind of funny to me that I'm talking about this in my hometown. I grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska, which you wouldn't think would necessarily be like a hotbed of enthusiasm for blues music, but it is, because we have this one awesome bar, the like world famous Zoo Bar, and they have live music every night. My dad and his friends and stuff, I would play with them. But then since I've left home, there just really haven't, my late husband, when I first met him, I was stoked because he liked Blind Willie McTell and some of the same stuff I did. But yeah, Melly's kind of pretty much the only other person that I've met. So
yeah, I was like, whoa. I was really impressed that she knew Jessie May Hemphill and Bessie Smith, and these are some songwriters that are some of my favorite songwriters, the most influential to me. And Keenan not only knew but liked those, and I was like, wow. So it was really serendipitous for us both.
And you guys mentioned that you really started performing together for the first time when COVID hit the United States. Did that change the dynamic of how the duo evolved and developed in the first place?
I think it had a big effect on how it all came together, because we met literally, I thought we met just after it started, but apparently we met maybe like a week or two before, now that you mention it. But yeah, like we immediately, honestly, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise, because we had an opportunity to just work on songs and write and be creative without any pressure of needing to perform, or how do I say it, like try to kind of get back out there after we left the groups that we were in previously and that ended. It's kind of, I think a lot of musicians leave a group and then they're like, sweet, I'm going to join another group. I'm just going to get out there immediately and I'm going to start hitting it. And I don't think that was going to be actually the best thing for me creatively and just personally. And so in my opinion, it was a blessing in disguise, because we just spent like the entire 2.5 years writing songs and getting together and hanging out and working on actually getting to know each other and becoming really good friends. And so that was just kind of a blessing. And then it wasn't really until, I don't know, when did we take our first gig? It was this year, the beginning of this year, where we were like, okay, we're ready. Let's get the equipment. Let's get all of our social media stuff going. We just kind of like upped the ante and we were like, let's get out there and start playing and taking gigs.
Right. And like, I think that part of it too was my husband was a really awesome musician, and he tragically passed away unexpectedly last August. So I kind of said to Melly, look, man, I'm also a mom, so I was like completely grief stricken and my whole world apart. And I kind of said, hey, I'm going to get a babysitter to Thursday night. Can we just have that be like hangout, like rehearsal night, so that I know that I have one night a week that I get to like go out and play music and stuff. And that was kind of the first time that we really started practicing super consistently, because I knew that I kind of had to have something to look forward to, And so then was our first gig. What was our first gig, Melly? I'm trying to remember. Was it the first Gold Hills General Store one in like May?
No, it was Boot Tan Fest.
Yeah,
right?
Like in the middle of the first Boot Tan Fest. You're right. And then we didn't play any more gigs for like all year.
Yes.
And then we played Boot Tan Fest again, which if your readers don't know about Boot Tan Fest, they really should. You can probably describe it better than me, Melly, but
female identifying, body positive, backcountry ski and snowboard festival. So it's amazing. It's called Boot Tan Fest. It's at Bluebird Backcountry out in Kremling. And it's just a festival, and it's all of these female identifying people skiing naked. It's great. Yeah, super fun.
And is there anything about performing live, individually or together, that has stuck out to you two over the years?
I mean, if I personally am totally honest, I think that Melly is sort of more of the performer in the group. I guess it's nice to like go out and like you've worked so hard and like share it with people. But I think that there's a big part of me that would be sort of content just playing in my basement. But it is fun to like go out and play live shows. And, I'm older now. And so like I've kind of given up on making anybody else like the weird kind of music that I like. But, it is really fun to like, particularly I like to be able to perform songs that I've written, because you wrote them and you worked hard on them. And on some level, it's like you wouldn't finish it if you weren't proud of it, So.
And my favorite part of doing it is absolutely, I do love performing and I love getting our music out there, and it's really fun. It's just a wonderful form of self-expression, and it feels really, really good to be playing music that is 100% match with my taste and style, because I've been playing in bands for a long time, and I've been in many different bands, and none of them were exactly, they were kind of conglomerations of other people's individual styles mashed together. And I feel like this project it is the best match for the music that I write and the way that I like to sing and the instruments that I play. And it feels really, really good to share the passion projects with people and see the response.
Yeah, I just don't know it yet.
And is there anything that you hope people will take away from your performances or the music you share when they come to see you both?
I I mean, I mostly just want people to come out and have a good time. Playing music has always, for me, just been like a really fun thing, and it's never been my full-time job or anything. And so, like, mostly I just want to enhance everybody's night out, I guess, because everybody has their own struggles and stressors and stuff. So it's fun to see people having a good time.
And I definitely hope that we've got some really funny material in our songs, and then we have some serious material. And I love having that combination, but I hope that when people come to our shows, that it inspires the people that come to see us to be themselves and express themselves and say the things that are on their mind and say the things that maybe people don't want to talk about. And I feel like we do get a lot of feedback from our shows that's the feedback that we're getting, that people are like, wow, it's so liberating to hear women singing about this stuff, or I'm so glad you wrote a song about this topic, or, you know, I'm glad that you're bringing these things out into the awareness. And I hope it empowers people. I especially hope it empowers females.
So, at the time of this recording, you guys were just starting out as a duo. So, of course, I asked, do you guys have any recordings on the horizon?
We are starting to record in August for our professional album. We've got some preliminary recordings done that we're using for booking purposes. But yeah, by next, I would say spring, we'll have an album. Does that sound right, Keenan?
Yeah, I feel like that is such a workable goal.
Yeah, what we're going for.
Their debut EP, Crossed Your Heart, came out on June 14th, 2024. Is there anything else that you want to add about your performances and your music careers as a whole?
I don't know. Do we want to mention the bands that we were in previously?
I was in a band called Ginny Mules.
Yes, and I'm still in Coppertail, and then the other band is the Sweet Lilies. I used to be in that band as well.
I recognize the name Coppertails because I had recently interviewed local musician Daniel Wander. Coppertail ended up performing with him on a few occasions.
Yes, and I still play with him. Yeah, so Daniel Wander and Coppertail and 100 Pound Housecat are the current projects I'm in. And the big one that I was in before that was the Sweet Lilies. I think something that is really cool, too, is that Keenan and I both used to kind of be in these grassy genres of music. So we both were in these groups that were coming from like a kind of bluegrassy place. And so now we're both like doing blues. So I think that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I love bluegrass and everything. In fact, many, almost 20 years ago when I met my husband in Boulder, he was from North Carolina, and I just liked him so much and had such a crush on him that I even learned how to play the banjo, which, I mean, that's commitment right there. But yeah, I should practice my banjo. I should get back into the banjo. But yeah, not a lot of banjo in Housecat currently. For now. But
And yeah, in general, is there anything else about you guys that you want to add before we sign off?
The one thing I wanted to talk about is, are there any other like current blues artists that we really like that are kind of doing the style of music that we really appreciate?
Oh yeah. You want me to rattle some off?
I know we love Nat Myers because
his new album just came out like last week, so I got to listen to it the first time while I was driving to Lincoln, and it's totally awesome. It was produced by Easy Eye Sound, which is one of the guys from the Black Keys. That's like his label. So this guy Nat Myers is awesome. And then also there's this band GA20. It's like capital G, capital A, hyphen the digits 20, and I think they're really great as well. There's a girl named Christina Vane. She lives in Nashville. She's awesome.
We really appreciate artists that have like a vintage sound to them. That's, I think, what I really love about Nat Myers. And I think it's really lovely to hear groups go back to like a vintage traditional sound with blues music. And that's definitely something that's important to us. And I would say some of our songs sound really traditional, and some of them, you know, have a little bit more of a rock fusion in there, a little bit rock and roll.
Yeah, I mean, let's not lead the people to believe that every song that we play is like a 1, 4, 5, 12-bar blues shuffle. That is definitely not the case. But it's definitely like in there, you know.
A heavy influence, yeah. So there's definitely like incorporating elements of rock and roll. There's even a little bit of hip hop in there. I think those are kind of the main vibes. Yeah. Even maybe a little bit of, I don't know, what would you say, Keenan, genre-wise?
I think you covered it. I always really hate the genre question, honestly. I can't ever come up with an answer that I feel like is descriptive, but not, I don't know. Yeah. I don't like that question.
Like blues, rock and roll. I think you nailed it. In there. Yeah, a little bit of hip hop. Yeah.
People just have to come see us to find out, really.
Some stomping and clapping stuff, for sure.
Man, well, in that case, I think those are the big questions I have on my end.
Okie doke.
Hey, thank you so much for taking the time and having the interest to interview us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Melly and Keenan, for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. And thank you to both of you for bearing with me after I didn't realize I hadn't put this interview out there into the podcast sphere. I'm really glad to finally get it out there now. Also, a special shout out to Nat Myers, GA20, and Christina Vane. The Nat Myers album referenced in this interview is called Yellow Peril, and it's available wherever you get your music. And if you want to learn more about Christina Vane, I had the honor of interviewing her earlier this year. So be sure to check out our previous Music of the Mountains episode featuring Christina. 100 Pound Housecat will be performing at Howlin' Wind Brewing and Blending very soon. So be sure to head over to 51A Main Street in Rollinsville on Saturday, August 23rd, 2025, starting at 5 p.m. to see the duo performing live. Be sure to head to 100 Pound Housecat, that's 100lbhousecat.com. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this special lost episode of the Mountaineer Podcast's Music of the Mountains segment. I'll be back very soon with our regularly scheduled Music of the Mountains segment. In the meantime, if you want to share this episode or others around with whoever you see fit, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and scroll near to the bottom of our homepage, or head to our podcast's main hub at the mtnearpodcast.buzzsprout.com to see a full archive of all of our episodes. Again, if you're interested in being involved in the podcast and or the paper in any way, shape, or form, email info@themountaineer.com, media@themountaineer.com, and or frontdesk@themountaineer.com, and we'll get something sorted for you. And finally, to find all of our most important pages, you can head to individual episode descriptions of all of our podcast episodes for our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and events calendar, where you can submit local events coming to your venues or throughout the community. You can also find other important pages on the top right side of our homepage. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. The song that you are currently listening to is called Angie's List. It is the final track on the debut release from 100 Pound Housecat, Crossed Your Heart, which you can find wherever you get your music. 100 Pound Housecat will be performing at Howlin' Wind Brewing and Blending very soon, so be sure to head over to 51A Main Street in Rollinsville on Saturday, August 23rd, 2025, starting at 5 p.m. To learn more about 100 Pound Housecat and their music, be sure to head to their website at 100 Pound Housecat, that's 100lbhousecat.com.
Who can handle his song? Yeah, yeah. You keep messing with your back hole, you get stuck in the mud. You got plans on your table, like all them other guys. You got plans on your table, like all them other guys. Yeah, yeah. But you take so long to get it done. I got to
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.